right, Keyvan, thanks for the great sharing.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so would you please share with us some tips for young entrepreneurs?
Sure. I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to really dive deep into what kind of product they've created or what kind of service they've created and why it matters to their customer. And if they come at it from the standpoint of understanding the customer, how they make the decision to use their product or service, and what is it about what they've created that's different or better or cooler or much more innovative or whatever set of buzzwords you want to use around why it matters, they're going to be much more successful.
So when you meet new entrepreneurs, what qualities are you expecting in those young people?
Without question, curiosity, a deep passion and knowledge about the industry they're in. I can tell you that entrepreneurs that haven't done the hard work of the homework of their industry don't succeed. And the other thing they need is tenacity. They have to keep going in the face of a lot of obstacles that you face as an entrepreneur.
How does social media affect innovation?
You know, I think it's both a positive and a negative. It's social media tends to do really amazing things in terms of getting people to know about your product. I mean, the virality of something and the way in which something spreads from one person to another is an amazing power that social media has. The flip side is sometimes you're not ready for that kind of attention. And so you have to be really careful about the way in which you position yourself in a market and how you embrace social media and what kind of conversations you plant and foster within a community. Keeping in mind, of course, that you can never control that.
And is transparency also an issue?
Well, I'd say it's an opportunity. I think that the companies that are able to use transparency to bring their audiences closer to them or to bring their consumers closer to them and make them feel like they're part of the solution, right? Apple does this incredibly well, where they create this community around themselves, and people who buy Apple products tend to think of themselves as a slightly different person, a more creative person, a more collaborative person. And if you as a company are embracing your audience or your customer that way, through social media, through your products, through the design elements as well as the communication, I think you can succeed.
When young people are running a business, would you suggest them to be like more traditional to play safe or be very creative and innovative?
You know, you have to be both. And I know the obvious answer is be innovative, be creative, be disruptive. But the reality is you have to do those things, but also have an eye towards the tradition that you came out of, the businesses that you're trying to change and evolve, because your customer at the end of the day is only going to come with you on that journey if they can understand what the journey is. And so you do really have to do both sides of that. You have to be interesting and innovative and different, but at the same time you have to be accessible.
Yeah, so along your journey to be a really successful man, what is the hardest moment or incident for you?
Oh, for me? I'd say the hardest thing for me is understanding the changes that are happening quickly enough. It's particularly in my industry in media and entertainment, there's so many aspects of our business that are shifting from the way in which people produce content to the way in which people access and consume it, and frankly to the way in which people pay for and monetize that content. And so my biggest challenge and one of the biggest things that we as an industry face is staying abreast of the changes fast enough to then create those products that people care about. And then doing that in a way that scales really well so that our core business doesn't just evaporate, it migrates.
How do you go with the flow?
That's really hard. Well, here's what I'll say. I think part of it is you have to be curious. You have to want to seek the changes that are happening. And you can't be just protective. And so a lot of the work that we counsel, that we do ourselves in our company, we try and think about how the changes are going to impact our business from the standpoint of embracing that change so that we can benefit from it, as opposed to from a standpoint of fear and a threat to our core enterprise. Because if you're operating from that standpoint, from fear, from a motivator of protection, I actually don't think you succeed in the long run. You make too many decisions based on something that you're afraid will happen, as opposed to based on something that's an opportunity in front of you.
Thank you very much for the sharing.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I'm sure everyone is getting a big tip from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.